Namaskar, Jai Hind, and welcome to another edition of National Security Live on Gyanonymous School. I'm your host, and today we are going to discuss one of the most significant developments in India's national security architecture in recent years. The newly formed or the newly framed National Counter-Terrorism Policy and Strategy, popularly known as PRAHAAR. So today we are going to know what is PRAHAAR, why government had to form it, what are various components, the 7 components, and PRAHAAR. We will go through it and why we need such a comprehensive counterterrorism policy and such a comprehensive counterterrorism policy. So before starting, I would like to request our viewers kindly to switch on 1.5x for better experience. Thank you. Let's go ahead with it. The word PRAHAAR, that is PRAHAAR, PRAHAAR, it actually means in Hindi, it means a decisive strike. It is actually a fitting name for India's first publicly released national security or national strategy document that brings together various stakeholders like intelligence, law enforcement, technology. It brings together various agencies of government, that is governance, also international cooperation, along with community participations into a single framework towards a single goal of combating terrorism. If we say according to this document, the strategy is actually built around 7 pillars. The PRAHAAR documents, it goes with 7 pillars that together guide India's counterterrorism approach. So in this National Security Live uh, 6 episode 6, we are going to address a simple question, like why did India need a such national counterterrorism policy or such a counterterrorism structured strategy? Why, or maybe what does PRAHAAR propose? What it brings? Is it brings any sense, or it just comes as an umbrella term? What senses it brings about? And how will it shape India's fight against terrorism in coming years ahead? So we will learn about that. So let's begin with it. So why PRAHAAR was needed? Why such counterterrorism policy was needed? As we know, since 1947, India has lived with terrorism. India has been living still with terrorism for decades. We have witnessed various cross-border terrorism due to we have beautiful neighbors. We have seen attacks on civilians. We have seen attack on security forces and evolving threats that now at present, which increasingly uses technology like drones, crypto for funding, and all other technologies for communications. Okay, so this PRAHAAR document, it points out that terrorism today is no longer actually limited to physical attack. As the dynamics or global technical dynamics of the world goes, we have to adapt with that dynamics of security. So this document actually provides that terrorism is or security is no longer a reactive or some reaction to physical attacks. Security is not just a physical security. Terrorist groups actually increasingly they exploit various encryption communications. They exploit social media. They actually extensively use encrypted communication and social media, as well as we have found they have been using drones all over the world. Also cyber capabilities, they have built various cyber capabilities. Cryptocurrencies, we have found that the funding channel of terrorism has been through cryptocurrencies sponsored by various state agencies as well as international organizations. The dark web thing, the dark web that the organizations have been using to recruit to finance and coordinate the activities that we call terrorism. So how we will respond to that? With all that we have discussed so far, these all problems, these all capacities, this new level of terrorism, to deal with such terrorism, our response has to evolve. Instead of the classics of like different agencies working in isolations, in previous times our different agencies were working very individualistic way. Like every state police was working individualistic way. Some like military units who were dealing with CICT ops, that is counter insurgency and counter-terrorism ops, they were working individual way. Central armed police forces like CRPF, BSF, and SSB and all other forces, they were working their own way. But from this working in isolation, let's say from let's say 30 years or 25 years back, they had worked in isolation. But India now seeks a comprehensive national strategy. India, as the threats evolving, the agencies started to coordinate in that way. They also start to share information, coordinate in that way, and they had to liaise with each other for a joint counterterrorism operations. Like we have heard in Northeast, particularly Assam, we have heard of Unified Command. In Unified Command, particularly in Assam, as per my knowledge, there were state police, there was military units, there were central armed police forces, intelligence agencies, and government, state government, as well as inputs from Union Home Ministry. So these all coordinates, and these all actually resulted comprehensive counterterrorism policies, and which resulted some results that we can see peace in across various parts of Assam. So the purpose of PRAHAAR is like this. It is to integrate all the agencies. It is to integrate all the forces, all the stakeholders into one comprehensive platform. If we go back India's counterterrorism policy, one thing that impressed me while reading this PRAHAAR document, reading these documents of India's national counterterrorism policy, that it doesn't define actually counterterrorism simply by conducting operations after an attack. This document is not just military operation, or it's not just a response after an attack. Instead, this document has a broader philosophy. Its objective, I can see from if it's available in the internet, you can go and download the PRAHAAR document. You can read there that its primary objective is to prevent attack, before it's gonna happen. Before the attacks happen, the utmost try or utmost effort from all the agencies is to prevent it. And next step, when it prevents, when the prevention fails, if something happens, if some unfortunate situation happens, how our forces would respond quickly, how our central forces, how the state government forces would respond quickly to when an attack occurs. And after that, how investigation can be done professionally with various investigating agencies. Mainly major terror attacks were investigated by NIA, that is National Investigation Agency nowadays. So how can we investigate professionally with integration of technology, with integration of forensic science, as well as digital forensics and various methodologies of the current technological age. Using such methodologies, how we can investigate professionally. Next, after investigation, there is prosecution. How we can prosecute them lawfully. Our prosecution need to be very strong. The prosecution lawyers need to be very strong, so that the convicted ones who are convicted, they just don't go away with bail so easily. And after that, the recovery process or the rehab process, who are victims of such attacks, how these people will recover, how the rehab process of the victims are. So this document also focuses on rehab and recovery processes. Then it focuses on building resilience against future threats. How we can build resilience against future threats. I can say that the word terrorism is actually comes from, it's a meaningful word. It is not just a word. It's not just the violence, okay? It it is the fear of violence. For data shows that in India, more people dies, large number, outnumbered. The data says that outnumbered. The data actually which shows that the number of people dies from road accidents is much higher than the data from terror incidents. It's a very large number. Still, people are more afraid of terrorism, or terrorism gets more space in news than the road accidents. This is why it happens. Why people get afraid of, what is the role of media and other civil society organizations towards dealing with terrorism? When an attack happens, do you think the security forces, intelligence agencies and government has the only role? The media, the civil society organization, and we as a common people, don't we have any role to that? That's a big deal. If we are afraid of such incidents, if we stay inside our house for a long time because of such incidents may happen, if we close our shops, if we don't go to school and offices, this is where terrorism gets its success. I can remember one incident when one Israeli expert, he is professor, I actually forgot his name. He's a professor of Reichman University or International Counter-Terrorism Center. There was once a terrorist attack. It's more frequent in Israel. So after the attack, there was an interview from a prominent media organization from US, and he was giving interview in that channel, and he was asked what you were doing when this terrorist attack happened, or what did you do after the attack happened. And he said a very beautiful answer. He said that, yeah, after the attack happened, after some time actually I went to play basketball. And he was really doing that. And this is where the society succeeds. Yes, you have to obey the protocols of security. You have to go through security checks. If security forces say that don't go to that particular place because it is still vulnerable to attacks, don't go there. But don't give up your daily routine because of some terrorist attack. If there is no threat and there is a perceived fear of future attacks, and you are giving up your daily life, you are giving up your daily activities, you don't go to school, you don't go to universities, you don't go to work, or you go in a very fearful way, you go in a very compromised way, this is not where you will be successful. The society doesn't succeed in this way. Means if we get afraid, if we stay inside house, if we don't do our normal work, this is where terrorism becomes successful. So for that, we need to build a resilience. Since such situations has been happening in India and countries like Israel and many other countries all over the world, we need to build resilience. Our civil society need to build resilience. As that Israeli expert, he said that he were playing football just after the terrorist attacked on that particular city. He was right. He didn't let the fear come inside him, and he went like it is a normal day. This is where, or this is how society need to respond. So this is also integrated in our PRAHAAR counter-terrorism policy of Government of India, which it says finally to build resilience and coordination among people, and how we will react to future threats. This is what the document is. This document actually equally emphasizes on India's response, which must be consistent with rule of law, with constitutional values, with human rights, while maintaining policy of zero tolerance towards terrorism. So let's come to the acronym PRAHAAR, the 7 pillars of PRAHAAR. The 7 pillars of PRAHAAR, that is PRAHAAR, it goes with, first is prevention of terror attacks. P goes for prevention of terror attacks. Next, R go for response. Third, A go for aggregating capacities. Next, next H goes for human rights and rule-based processes. It deals with how we need to handle terrorism or counter-terrorism from human right point of view, and how we should apply rule of laws, how the procedure and conviction should be based on rule. It should be through due constitutional process. Next, another A, that is attenuating the condition conducive to terrorism. Number 5, attenuating the conditions conducive to terrorism means the soft corner towards terrorism, the support towards terrorism, the funding towards terrorism, how we can stop them. This is where from last 10 years we can see India has been successful, and there are relatively very less numbers of terrorist attacks in across India, because India is attenuating the condition conducive to terrorism, like firstly the funding of terrorism or funding of insurgency activities. The NIA and other agencies has been working so beautifully, they've been working so seamlessly to grab the financiers of terrorism, and they have been really successful. And if there is no funding, there will be less and less terrorism. Next, another A, that is aligning and shaping the international efforts. Number 6, that is how we can align our counterterrorism policy towards or with the tune of international efforts, how we can cooperate and coordinate with other countries relating to information sharing, relating to law enforcement, as well as extradition process. And lastly, it is recovery and resilience through whole of society approach. Here is where the whole of society involves with recovery and resilience. So now let's go with them a bit with one by one. Let's start with prevention. This is the first pillar of PRAHAAR. If we go into deep into prevention, this strategy actually says the best terrorist attack is the one that never happens. From security point of view, from the point of view of counterterrorism, what is the best terrorist attack? In fact, there is no best terrorist attack, but if we look from counterterrorism point of view, or from the security point of view, the best terrorist attack is that never happens. So to achieve this, PRAHAAR philosophy or PRAHAAR counterterrorism strategy, it stresses on intelligence-based policing and improved coordination among intelligence agencies. It highlights mechanisms into